Hey guys, Kingston here, and today's video will be pretty special, to me at least, because we're gonna be talking about a character from Piggy, but specifically Pig 64, that I love a lot. And that character is the man, the myth, the main antagonist of Pig 64, the antagonist with the best design I have ever seen, and the most interesting and mysterious characters that came out of nowhere and got added to the Pig 64/Piggy storyline. And that man is Nor. Let's give a round of applause to the GOAT himself. Yeah. So as you can tell by the intro, I love this guy a lot. Ever since I saw Nor, and especially his boss fight designs, I instantly started to like Nor a lot because of his design and his cool transformations. But he also felt like a mysterious and weird character in a good way, of course, and an antagonist that we know not much about in his motives. This makes me like Nor because this allows me to make fun and cool theories and stories about him. It's not really a reason to like him, but whatever. So in today's video, I'm gonna be analyzing Nor's character from theories I have and what he did in Pig 64, and analyze his actions from Pig 64, and just talk about Nor in general. Now let's get on to the video. Before we get onto the theories and analyzing, first let's introduce Nor's character first. Nor is the main antagonist of Pig 64. He is a virus disguised as an NPC rat model with a black hoodie, white gloves, and white boots. But for some reason, he has an old model, but I'm not gonna talk about it right now because it's useless information. Anyway, we first see Nor at the mall map inside the vault. When we enter the vault, he thinks we are an NPC trying to break out, so he tells us that Pig 64 is a simulation and a test, and wants to help you escape from it. So he gives us information to help you and himself escape Pig 64. And later on, we see him at the other world's map, at the tower. But after we get banned from Pig 64, then later we go back to the other world to fix the green key we got from Darcy Dog. We see the GOAT himself, Nor, angry and confused, telling us why we left him behind, and telling us we are basically greedy for taking the freedom for yourself. The freedom of being out of Pig 64. But after Nor's crash out, we reveal who we truly are. We reveal that we are a player and not an NPC, but we lie about our name being Ronald, the creator of Pig 64. He buys in the lie, but asks us a question saying, "You have returned to this game, why?" But we were either too late to give Nor an answer, or we just didn't have an answer at all. So he tries to find that out for himself. Then he leaves to the warehouse. I don't know. We go back to the main Pig 64 maps to use the green key, but something is very different. The sky is now red and dark. The music of the Pig 64 maps are gone, and there's 3 bots lurking at the pyre, sewers, and bunker. And those 3 bots that are lurking in those maps are Percy for pyre, Sterling for sewers, and Boris for bunker. I'll talk about the 3 bots later, trust. Later on, we get to the warehouse, the hidden map that was locked away from the public, and the map that the developers of Pig 64 trapped away Nor, so he couldn't escape Pig 64 to the main servers. When we enter the warehouse, we see Pig 64 models of Ronald Raleigh, the creator of Pig 64, beating up Ryder Page, the tech consultant of PSTMM. I'll talk about this later since I don't think this is important to Nor. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, we enter the door down the hallway of the warehouse to see the GOAT himself, Nor, horrifying. He tells us what he knows now after his research. First off, we learned that Ronald is actually dead, and Nor finds out your name is actually Charlie and not Ronald. I'll get onto this in a second. After some epic Piggy gameplay, hitting Nor with a broom turns out hitting a virus with a broom doesn't affect him, so we just get outplayed by a green rat and get sent to the firewall, which is basically hell. Get outplayed, little bro. After we complete the firewall and the firefall obby and fall into the abyss, we go to the limbo, the place where we teleport to see Nor. Nor talks to us and tells us even more information about us, saying that 4 years ago we arrested a serial robber our colleagues struggled with and found a missing girl. So it's clear that we are an amazing detective, solving case after case and arresting people others struggle with. But how does Nor know this information about us despite being trapped in Pig 64? I have a theory about that, but I'll get onto it in a second. He also says in the following, Mudson wasn't very fond of people like you. People who had power over others. He was definitely a hypocrite. Nonetheless, he was right on the fact that you are a danger to our world. This fight has all stakes for me and none for you, but let it be a representation of my people and who we are. I don't know what he means by this, so I probably won't bring it up in this video, so yeah. Anyway, he cracks his neck to transform into a more corrupted version of himself, and the boss fight begins. After cooking Nor's Phase 1 form, the most iconic form, I2R, can you please make the Phase 1 Nor boss design the Nor plush design? Please, thank you. Anyway, after we kill Nor Phase 1, he transforms into his Phase 2, which is Spider Nor. Spider Nor is a red mechanical giant looking spider. That's all I gotta say about Phase 2 Nor. I just didn't know what else to say about Nor Phase 2, sorry. After we exterminate this clanker, Nor turns into a massive, realistic purple rat. Bro used his beast mode from his rat zone type devil fruit. Anyway, we kill bro, we win, GG's, wrap it up Nor. Yo guys, let's celebrate Nor's defeat. Yay, we did it, yeah, woohoo! Right guys, right? Oh, turns out Nor actually toyed with us really hard, and tricked us into getting ourselves to fight him. But that fight was actually an escape out of Pig 64 for Nor so he could get into the main servers and possibly cause even more havoc. Those hits didn't even affect him at all, but instead it was just him tricking you, thinking you're actually fighting and winning against him. But you're never meant to win this fight. Nor was the true winner. He says in the following, Bravo, you have done well, Charlie. Ronald's developers locked me up so tightly, nobody should have cracked the code. Lucky for me, you came along. I have waited so patiently for the day I would be released into the main servers. It's time for a new innovative to commence. After this, Nor crumbles a Pig 64 model of Mudson, CEO of PSTMM, then laughing after, showing his hatred towards Mudson. After this, Nor destroys everything in Pig 64 and took over. The NPCs don't have eyes and having a monochrome look. The entire map of Pig 64 is just gone. It's just a black box called the Beyond. The player model is broken to making us look like a prototype for Pig 64 models. And all the Pig 64 mechanics are all gone. There's no UI, there's no inventory, and the parkour mechanics. The map teleporting and everything else gone. After looking at the damages Nor caused, a crystal looking portal opens and we enter it, and that's the recap of Nor's character. Now that we're done with the recap that took way too long to write, Jesus Christ, we can get onto the theories. We're gonna get into a lot of theories, so grab a snack of your choice and some water and let's dive in. Our first theory is, how was Nor created? Well, what we know about Nor is that he is a computer virus, and computer viruses are created from what I believe is 3 different ways. The first possibility is he is created by an anonymous person from PSTMM or somewhere else for malicious reasons. The second possibility is he was accidentally created like a bug in Pig64 that was created during Ronald's time at PSTMM before Pig64 was created. And the third possibility is Nor could have been a self-aware robot at PSTMM and wanted to get revenge at everyone at PSTMM, especially Munson. So he targeted Ronald first to ruin his project. So he planned his attack for a while, then he gets into Pig64, and when he gets into Pig64, he gets trapped in the warehouse by the Pig64 developers before he can cause any damage. Now, which possibility could be true? First, let's cross out the second possibility because it's very hard to believe that a very advanced computer virus could be created because of an accidental bug created by Ronald. Now we have 2 very convincing answers to how Nor was created. Now possibility 3 could be correct, since Nor hates Mudson and he knows about PSTMM, and it makes sense that he would destroy Pig64. Keep in mind that Nor is a virus and robots can't turn themselves into viruses, possibly. So number 1 has to be the answer, since most computer viruses are created by people, and especially powerful viruses like Nor. Someone at PSTMM could have put a hard drive, a USB, or something that contains Nor, and put Nor inside of Pig64 for malicious reasons. Or Ronald bought something sketchy from a suspicious person for Pig64, and that sketchy object contained a virus, and that virus was Nor. Nor's purpose was to cause destruction on technology, and Ronald accidentally got his hands on it, and that's possibly how Nor was created and his purpose. Was Nor responsible for Ryder's or Ronald's disappearance? Now, I've had this question for a while, so let's try to answer this theory I have. This theory is pretty hard to answer because we don't really know what happened to Ryder Page. If you don't already know, in a video made by Minitoon called Hello Employee, at the end of the video, the Hello Employee tape glitches, and then after the glitch, we can see a robot version of Ryder Page and all the other robots behind him. If you haven't already, go watch the video. So when this happened, I thought this was Nor's doing. I thought Nor hijacked the robots at PSTMM, then killed Ryder Page, and was replaced by a robot version of himself. But a piggy YouTuber named Mr. Cheese made a theory about PSTMM, and he talked about where did Ryder go, and his theory about that was Ryder Page simply left the company or got fired, and after he made his own company called Cybers. And after watching that, I retracted that theory I had about Nor killing Ryder Page. But we don't know what exactly happened to Ryder Page, so it could be right but mostly not. But I could be correct on, is Nor responsible for Ronald's death theory I have. While Nor was talking about his research, he does say Ronald is dead. So we know that Ronald died, but we don't know how he died. Did he die from a heart attack? Did he die from a murderer? Or did he just slip on a banana peel and die? Well, I have a made up story that Nor could have possibly killed Ronald, and possibly how it was played out. Ronald was at home just working on Pig64. Like, let's say he and the Netics team are developing the parkour areas of Pig64. Then Nor suddenly comes out of the computer or whatever device Ronald is developing Pig64 on. And Nor does some monologue towards Ronald before killing him, and then after this, the Netics team found out about Nor and sealed them away in the warehouse map, then restricted the warehouse map from the public so nobody tries to free Nor, or at least find out about him. The reason why I said that they restricted the warehouse map after they sealed away Nor in the warehouse is because I believe the Pig 64 warehouse map was public before they found out about Nor. So they chose the warehouse, sealed him and the warehouse for good. Now, as much as I want to believe that Nor was responsible for Ryder's disappearance, but mostly Ronald's death, it is probably extremely wrong, since Ryder was possibly alive and just left PSTMM, and Ronald could have died from something else. And Ronald was possibly still alive when Nor was trapped in the warehouse. If he only knew he died from his research. And plus, Nor only knew Ronald was dead because of his research, so Nor couldn't have killed him. And Nor did believe Charlie was Ronald, so he did think he was alive at first. So this made up story is possibly really false, but it would have made Nor a colder and more sinister antagonist if that happened. But I'll call this theory or made up story false, since there's not that much information that Nor did it. How did Nor get information from Charlie despite him being trapped? After Charlie lies about being Ronald, Nor believes in the lie and asked us a question that Charlie can't answer since he isn't Ronald. So Nor tries to find the answer to his question himself by doing some research. When we arrive at the boss fight area, Nor tells us some information about us. He tells us our cases we solved, and he finds out that Ronald is actually dead. How did Nor get this information despite being trapped in Pig 64? Like he somehow got information outside of Pig 64. How's that possible? Well, I have a theory on how Nor got Charlie's information. But first we have to know what type of game Pig 64 is. Pig 64 seems and looks like an online game. The reason why I think that is because you can actually get banned from Pig 64. And what type of games can you get banned from? Online games. And in most online games, you have to make an account with a username, a password, and other information if it requires more information to log in. And when you do the Darcy dance battle, you can see on the top it says our username Ronald. So we must have used that username to log into Pig 64. So now we know that Pig 64 is an online game. We can find out how did Nor get information outside of Pig 64. When someone puts in a password in Pig 64, the passwords probably go deep into the game's code or servers, and Nor must have had access to where the passwords were stored. So I think Charlie used a password that has a ton of information, so Nor used Charlie's password to get information about Charlie. And he found all of the cases Charlie solved, and he can do the same thing with other people's Pig 64 passwords. So I think this theory is true, and Nor can access people's information through Pig 64 passwords. Since I ran out of theories for Nor, let's talk about other theories I got. Who is Charlie? If you somehow don't know who Charlie is, then first of all, I think you only played Pig 64 just for the Nor skin, and I hate you for that. And second of all, Charlie is the main protagonist of Pig 64, aka the person we play as. He is a detective that is investigating Pig 64. He is investigating where the warehouse map is. Now we know who Charlie is. We can guess who Charlie is. I believe Charlie is the player from the original Piggy. Let me explain. Charlie from Pig 64 is an investigator. The player from Piggy is also an investigator. Charlie from Pig 64 arrested a serial robber his colleagues struggled with. Do you want to know who else arrested a serial robber that their colleagues struggled with to arrest? The player from Piggy. The player who arrested Willow, and Willow was also a serial robber, and Polly and other cops struggled to arrest Willow until the player arrived and succeeded, with Doggy of course. So with all this evidence, Charlie might actually be the player from Pig 64. What happened to Paco? In Pig 64, there's an NPC called Paco, and Paco is an NPC at the other worlds in the grasslands area. When you give him specific items, he'll craft a new item. Basically a craft NPC, if that name makes sense. But Paco is an interesting NPC simply because Paco is in the other worlds, a map that the public can't access, and plus he's a fully functioning NPC with voice lines and a working system. There is no way the Netix developers created a fully working NPC just for the public to not access. And plus, he's not even corrupted. He's a normal NPC, so why is he here? Well, it's simple. So people can't access the warehouse. In the other worlds, there's a red portal that can take you to the warehouse, but you need to eliminate a player in order to enter. The Bright Blade probably had the ability to eliminate players, and in order to get the Bright Blade, you have to get the blue block, and you can get the blue block from Paco. So they must have sealed away Paco so the players couldn't get the Bright Blade to eliminate the player, so they can enter the warehouse. Too easy. Next theory. Where did Percy, Sterling, and Boris come from? After we encounter Nor at the other world, Pig 64 starts to corrupt. The main maps are dark, the sky turns red, and the music of the main maps is nothing but ambience, and 3 hostile bots lurk around in 3 specific maps, and those bots are Percy, Sterling, and Boris. Percy is at the pyre map, Sterling is at the sewers, and Boris is at the bunker. I just realized that the bots' first letter in their name is the same first letter as the maps they patrol. That's a genius move, not gonna lie. Anyway, Percy, Sterling, and Boris lurk around in their maps to stop Charlie from progressing further. But since they're bad at their job, we easily avoid them. Now, ever since I saw these dudes, I always wondered where did they come from? Did Nor create them? Like he just thought of a fisherman pelican, a squid sewer worker, and a big buff military bear and just modeled them for the sole purpose to stop Charlie? Hell no. Nor can't model, he's a virus dog. Or was Percy, Sterling, and Boris scrapped NPCs that were already modeled, then Nor used them as patrol bots? That's probably the answer to this theory, and I'll explain why. You see, these bots used to have a normal form. The I2R Twitter account and Discord server posted the Pig 64 skins and the Innovation Awards. And under the Twitter post and the Discord announcement, you can see Percy, Sterling, and Boris in their normal forms. So they must have been NPCs, but where are they? Well, I believe that these guys were scrapped NPCs in the same areas where the corrupted versions are lurking. For example, Percy was a scrapped NPC for the pyre, Sterling was a scrapped NPC at the sewers, and Boris was a scrapped NPC for the bunker. The possible reason why they were scrapped was simply because they were either not needed or just scrapped ideas. Percy was probably a fishing NPC, revolving around the Pig 64 fish mechanic. Like he'll probably give you luck boost, or you could sell your fish to Percy for money and sell you fishing rods. But Percy was probably not needed for Pig 64, so Nedic scrapped him and Percy's model was in the files. And the same happened for Sterling. Sterling was probably an NPC for the sewers. He was most likely a tool NPC, kinda like Ace Axolotl, but the tools were specifically for the sewers. Sterling was also not needed since we already got an NPC for that, which is Ace, so they scrapped Bro and now his model is in the files. And the same again goes to Boris. Boris was probably an NPC for the bunker. He most likely sold weapons that do different damage, like guns or swords, for maybe a scrapped PvP arena idea Nedix had or Ronald had. So Boris got scrapped, and he also couldn't have gotten scrapped because if you eliminated a player, you could go to the warehouse, so they must have scrapped him for that as well. The same fate Paco had. And now his model is in the files. After these 3 NPCs got scrapped, Nord discovered them and decided to use these scrapped NPCs for evil. He took Percy, Sterling, and Boris's models out of the Pig 64 files, and Nor also corrupted their original design to make them more scary, I guess, or it could have been something that happened to them that corrupted their design. But besides the point, Percy, Sterling, and Boris were scrapped NPC ideas. Nor got his hands on their models from the Pig 64 files, and are now corrupted Evil Patrol NPCs to stop Charlie. And that's my theory on Percy, Sterling, and Boris. Sterling, my goat. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This script took way too long to write because I for some reason decided to write each part each day so I can play games. But hey, I finally finished the video, and hopefully when I edit this video, I lock in and make it faster than the writing. This video was very special to me because it was about my favorite character, and people barely addressed anything about Pig 64, so I gotta come in and give the good theories Pig 64 deserves. Anyway, thanks again for watching this video, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.